Hello and happy new year. The Healthy Knitter here with episode number 23. Thank you if you are coming back and rewatching and keeping up with my podcasts and subscribing to the channel. And certainly thank you for your comments. And if you're new, welcome. I'm excited you're here. I am a health and wellness coach. And just have a passion for knitting and love how knitting and fiber arts, crocheting, all of the crafty things help manage stress, and that helps with our overall health. So the two together are just such a perfect marriage for me. So my hope is I will turn more people onto knitting to help them manage their stress, and then also be able to help my knitting friends that maybe need more energy or activity in their life or better health as well. So that's my goal, and I am so excited to be with you today and talk about pretty much what my plans are here for the new year moving forward. So I have one finished project to share with you today. And these are vanilla socks from the Crazy Sock Lady, her pattern that I have loved with a DK yarn. And this is it is, let me look it up here, West Yorkshire Spinner. So this was yarn that I bought in England, Color Lab, and it's British wool, and I love it. And then I just did a different yarn that I had in scraps for the heel and toes. And I have so much left over of this yarn that I think I'm going to be able to make another pair. And the only difference is I'm going to do the heel and toe with this color and the cuff. And I think I can squeak out another pair of these. So I might do that coming up here in the new year. I decided one of my goals is a pair of socks a month. I don't think that's outlandish at all. I've definitely made 12 pairs last year. This year, though, I am going to not only commit to the one pair of socks per year, I'm going to start tracking things on Ravelry. I just watched a podcast and she showed how you can click on the year prior and it will bring up everything that you did in the year prior very easily. So I thought rather than putting it in my notes and keeping track that way, if I'm already tracking it, why not put it into Ravelry? So that's what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to get started on that immediately, but this will be my last finished project for 2024. I am doing really well with my um, champagne cardigan. I'll give you an update here, although I've got 4 skeins of yarn going on here, so I'll probably make a mess by showing you this, but I did not cast off the bottom because I was afraid I was going to be playing some yarn chicken. So now I just lost a stitch, so let me get the stitch back before I take this out and show you what I've got going on. All right. So here we go. It is ready to do a little bit more. It's 4 inches long for the cast, for the ribbing before I cast off. So I have a little bit more that I need to do there. I am on my first sleeve. So I'm working on that. And that's coming out nicely. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be fine with my yarn now. So what I might do next is finish the ribbing so I can cast off because I've got four things of yarn going right now and it's definitely a little messy, and keeping it all together I had it in my bag perfectly where I just kept it in my bag and was knitting on the sleeve, and then the yarn all stayed in place. So I knew I'd make a mess by showing you, but I still wanted to do it. So making progress on that, and I bet I can have that done here in the next week, maybe 2 weeks. So maybe next time I podcast or the time after that, I will have that on to show you. But I wanted to share with you a couple things that I have in the hopper coming up for whips to cast on, because that's all I have right now. Actually, my only thing casted on right now is the champagne cardigan. So next up, I am finally going to do the socks that I frogged. The funniest thing ever. Help me if you can solve this mystery. This is the same skein of yarn that I used for my daughter's socks that came out beautiful. And they were definitely more green than this one, looks lighter, creamier. And with the first pair that I made, I did not divide the yarn in half. If you remember, if you followed me on the podcast, I just did one from one side and one from the other, not knowing that they would look dramatically different. And honestly, it's fine because they still look this like the same yarn and it's adorable. And these are going to be for me. My daughters are perfect. But I decided to retake this from the opposite direction to get them to match today, and it doesn't look any different at all. So I took this green. I like this color. I think this is really, I love that. So I took this cake and I wound it the opposite direction to try to get it to match this color, and it did not work. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why is this one greener than this one? It is absolutely mind blowing. So if you have any suggestions on how I can get this cake to look like this one, I've tried from both ends of the yarn, rewinding it, and it looks the same. I know, it's crazy. So anyway, I'm getting ready to cast those on and would love your feedback. Maybe this one, I pull the yarn from the side, and this one, I pull the yarn from the middle. Comment below if you can help me. Seriously, I'm driving myself crazy on that one. So that will be casted on soon. And I think I decided with my, this is also England, yarn from England, this beautiful tweed yarn. This is West Yorkshire Spinners, and it is the Croft. It's 100% Shetland wool, and it is a tweed color called Tangwick. And I absolutely love this. And I have spent way too much time. I have a hard time finding patterns to go with yarn because I'm such a visual person. I want to see sweaters made with this yarn and then make a choice versus seeing a sweater that works for this weight and then being able to visualize what that will look like. So I can't even tell you how much time I spent on this. And I was talking to my daughter and I thought, one of the sweaters that I absolutely love the fit and the feel of, it will be different using this yarn. It will not have the same feel because there's no mohair with it. But the sweater is the No Frills Sweater by Petite Knit. So I think I'm going to use, instead of two strands and having the mohair in it and making it soft and fluffy, I'm going to use this DK because it's a nice basic sweater. And I just think that might work up really nice. So that is my plan to cast on for the new year. So I am excited because I definitely want to get another sweater on the needles very soon. Then I am going to be casting on this yarn that I bought on our yarn crawl. And I don't think let's see here. There we go. And it's beautiful self-striping. It's called Universal Yarn Colorburst. And this came with a free pattern that you knit a scarf and a matching hat. So I'm excited to work on this. So that'll be a fun project. And then the only thing I'm a little bit wondering, and I'll have to research that a bit, is this just caked fine and I just pull from the center the whole entire time? Or do I need to divide it? So I need to research that a little bit, but I am excited to cast that one on. And wait, there's more. I mean, there's so much more. It's ridiculous, but these are what I'm going to do next. And then I have a pattern for a little bit of a different version of a sock. This has some detail in it, some cabling in it, and it's beautiful. I'm a little nervous because I just feel like I've finally mastered the everyday vanilla sock. So I'm a little nervous to go a little crazy with a new pattern, but the yarn I am going to use for that is this, and it's a beautiful color. So I am excited about the color. And then the second one I'm going to do is even funkier. It's beautiful, detailed. I'm going to be using this yarn right here. So let me see. Why do I not have the details on what yarn this is? I don't. I'll have to find where that came from. But this is from Bare Naked Wools. This is in Ohio, actually not very far from me. And it's funny, I follow podcasts from people in Canada that use her wool. She has a huge online business. Her store is not super active, but her online business is amazing. And I get her emails and her patterns. She's a designer, beautiful, and the yarn is just stunning. So I am excited to try a few new sock patterns in the new year. I think I'll always have a pair of vanilla socks going because they're easy, they make wonderful gifts, and they're just so I can take them anywhere I go. So these will be a little more tricky, but I'm excited to work on those. And I think that's it for right away. Then next up, sweater wise, no, one more thing. I am going to be using self-striping yarn for a pair of socks. That's going to be coming up too. And these look like they're longer socks, so those will be really cute. So I'm going to do those. And sweater wise, it's either going to be something with my Icelandic yarn in this beautiful hot pink color, or the other one I got in England that I'm really excited to do something with is this West Yorkshire Spinners Fable. And this is like a beautiful kind of a coffee color yarn. So I'm excited to do something with that. So, oh, too many great ideas. But I'm just going to get a few things started and cast it on and then see where my time takes me. I have a big trip coming up. I have a couple little trips coming up. I'm doing a event with my company in Indiana for a quick overnight next week, and then the next following week I'm going to an event in Sarasota. So I definitely want to bring some easier things while I travel. So I'll have those vanilla socks going. So that's something easier I can do. Hopefully I'll get my cardigan done and get another sweater to cast on and get to the point where I'm done with the increases and the raglan and all of that. And I can just be knitting in a circle. So that'll be fun to travel for. But then my big travel is almost a 4-week trip to, I'm making my way to Arizona for a company event as well as a health and wellness training event, actually, for some of our top leaders in the company. So I'm excited for that on my way out the door to my son's wedding in Taiwan. And last year I brought wool. I was making a Lopi cardigan sweater. And I had no idea how much knitting time I would have. And so I didn't bring all the yarn I needed to complete the project. And I was distraught because I ran out of yarn. I was knitting on the trains everywhere we went when we traveled. I had downtime when we were just hanging out as a family and I was knitting, and I used all my yarn and didn't get to a yarn store and had no projects for the whole second half of the trip and the whole ride home. So I will not let that happen this time. I'm going to bring probably a couple pairs of extra fingering weight yarn for socks for sure, so that if I finish the sweater I'm working on, I've got a backup plan and I can keep knitting away. I do not want to run out of yarn again on that. But that was so upsetting last time, so I won't let that happen again. All right, announcement wise. Oh. So one thing I wanted to share with you, I can't remember where I saw this, but it was like New Year's resolutions for knitters. So for 2025, and I read it and I laughed and I said, oh, I'm going to share this with you guys today. So some of our New Year's resolutions could be, and this is going to be me for sure, I will follow the pattern exactly. Sometimes I jump ahead of myself, and if I ever make a mistake, it's because I didn't read the pattern thoroughly, or I had a hard time visualizing what the pattern was saying, and I didn't trust the pattern. I'm going to follow the pattern exactly in 2025 and not deviate from it. I will not improvise or try to make it better. So absolutely not. I'm not skilled enough to do that. I know that about myself. I need to follow the pattern. I will sew my ends in or weave them as I go. I'm not someone that is bothered by having some ends to weave in at my project. It doesn't hold me up, but I thought that was a funny one. And I hear a lot of people complaining about weaving ends in. So one thing to do, if that's a struggle for you, is weave them in as you go. Then you won't have so much work to do at the end of your project. This is a funny one, and this probably relates to most of us. I will only buy yarn, fabric, fiber, when I have a project, and not because it was on sale or just really pretty or shiny. All of the yarn that I bought on my trip to England and Iceland, I did not have a specific project in mind when I went. I just bought a sweater's quantity. So That's been hard because now I'm struggling to figure out what I can make with my yarn, and I am not going to put myself through that again. From now on, once I get through my stash here, my plan is to have a pattern and buy the yarn for the actual pattern I want to do. And the only time I think I will feel comfortable deviating with that is sock yarn. If I find fingering weight sock yarn or DK sock yarn, that's probably a little bit different. I'm going to like to have some extra of that in my stash, but other than that, I am going to only buy yarn when I have a project and not because it was on sale or gorgeous. I will recognize that collecting patterns is not really a hobby. I'm not too guilty of this, so I don't know if this is one that a lot of knitters have issues with, but I pretty much only buy patterns to use up yarn that I have. I don't have a plethora of patterns sitting there, and I'm kind of old school. So yes, I have them in Ravelry, and I've had old books over the years, but I print them out and then I put them in these plastic protector sheets. And I like to write on my patterns. So like that pattern I have, but I don't have the yarn for. So that would be a fun one in the new year to buy yarn for. I know I priced out the yarn that Andre Mowry used for that, and it was very pricey. So that's why I haven't gotten the yarn yet. But that might be a fun project for the new year. All right. And then the last one is hysterical because I've yet to do this. I will always do a swatch. I'm not committing to that one. I would like to figure out the swatching thing. I've fessed up to you before. I do measure to see once I start my project if I'm hitting gauge, and I typically do. So I know I should for every project. I know, but I just am afraid to say the words myself that I don't want to commit to that publicly on this platform and have you hold me accountable to that because I'm not sure I will do it. But I thought those were funny. And for me, like another one I'll add to that is I will not get overwhelmed with my projects. This is something that I do, like I said, to manage stress. This is enjoyable for me. It is fun for me. I want to create a community around this where there's always people to knit with. So I have two local yarn shops, one that the ladies get together every single day. They're all retired older ladies, sweet, sweet ladies, and they knit every single day, about a half hour north from where I live. And then about a half hour south, they get together usually once or twice a week. And they have knit nights usually once a month. So then on the other days, what do you do? So I am really just trying to build community around getting more people to knit and doing my online knit along. So I do have one planned. I have two planned for the month of January. And the first one is uh, Saturday, January 11th from 11 a.m. Eastern to 1. And I will post the Zoom link below. And then I have another one because I'm going to be gone for so much in February. I might only be able to do one in February. I'm doing two in January. So January 25th, which is my youngest daughter, Maddie's birthday, the same thing, 11 to 1 Eastern. I will be hosting another knit along. So hopefully we'll start growing that community. And if we get enough people, maybe I do a Facebook page. And if someone's just at home knitting and wants to hop on Zoom, they could just post in the group, hey, anybody want to knit together? Because it is so much fun. I shared with you that my new friend Penny and I just sat for 2 hours. It flew by, getting to know each other and talking. And it was so nice to have someone to knit with while I'm at home. So I hope that might be something that we can continue to grow here. And other than that, that's all I have for you right now. I would love to hear what projects you have or that you're excited to cast on, and maybe what some of your goals are for the new year. I definitely want to do more gift knitting. And I want to think about it well before November. I want to think about doing something for my kids in the new year. This year I did the crocheted bags for my three daughters. I have one here to show you. It's stuffed full of yarn. So it's odd shaped because I have it stuffed, but it's adorable. And the girls absolutely loved them. And then for my new daughter-in-law, I'm going to be bringing hers when we go to the wedding. And I made her a smaller one that kind of coordinates with it. And then I am making a couple of those also for my husband's Chinese teachers. So we're going to be doing some more crochet bags in the new year as well. I have an order coming from Crochet Park, and I'll be making some more of those bags for gifts. And I just want to be thinking for next year. I did Christmas sweaters for the kids. I did Christmas stockings for the kids. I didn't do Christmas sweaters. I did a Lopi wool Icelandic sweater for them. But I thought about maybe a Christmas sweater. Maybe I do a holiday sweater for them. So I don't know if you have any other good gift giving ideas. Let me know. Long term, I was thinking maybe I would make tree skirts for them for their Christmas trees as a gift. I don't know what I want to do yet for next year. So if you have any ideas, things that you've done maybe for gifts that have gone over really well, please let me know that in the comments below as well. And other than that, Happy New Year. I hope you enjoy New Year's Eve, New Year's Day with family, friends, that you have some really great time to knit over the holiday and that you cast on some amazing projects for the new year and get lots done. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye bye.